Hello and welcome to Grillin' and Chillin' with Coleman, where my passion is helping grilling and barbecue enthusiasts become the backyard grill master they've always wanted to be. Now, several weeks ago, I was invited to spend some time with someone I've been a big fan of for years now, Cowboy Kent Rollins. I took a trip up to Wellington, Texas, where Kent and his wife Shannon have a coffee shop right there on the town square. We were able to spend a few hours together, and during that visit, I was really able to learn a lot about Kent and his wife, his career, his successes, and even a few more surprises. Kent had some more great stories to tell, and due to the length of this video, I really had to break it up into two videos, and this video is part 2. So if you haven't watched part 1 yet, I'm going to encourage you to watch that video first. I'm going to put a link to that video right up here and also down in the description. But if you've already watched part 1, let's get back to the interview with Cowboy Kent Rollins. Kim, the next thing I want to talk to you about is, you're pretty popular in your videos, but your beagles.
Oh.
Your beagles are popular.
The beagle, bless his heart, he got more fans than I do. I think we got 1.75 million subscribers. The beagle's probably got 50 million, if I was guessing. He was another gift from God. We was living on an old ranch down there, me and Shannon, north of Wichita Falls. And for some reason, she had been to town. I was coming in from shipping a load of cattle with some people. And she was in front of me going to the house. And I see her stop. Oh, bar ditches is growed up in grass, and can't see. And I'm thinking, maybe a snake in the road. So I pull up her, and about that time I see this one beagle jump out of the grass, jump in the car, and here come another, and he jump in the car, and I'm thinking, I don't know what's going on. Still liked about a mile to the house. Drove on down there, and because I'd raised some beagles before. And them two got out, and they was pretty shy at first. They really didn't know what's going on. And Shannon said, I brought company. And I said, I think I know you well enough that you mean family.
That's right.
Don't you?
Right.
And
they ain't leaving.
They ain't going nowhere. And the beagle, he's been more places probably than any dog I ever known in my life to just go and work. He's been on working ranches. He's been on TV. He's sat for 6.5 weeks in Branson, Missouri, in a chair at camp and just watch people go by, And he never would wake up. He knew his job. Just sit there in that chair, be cute, But if somebody walked by with corn dog, he'd think, yeah, I know that guy, But really, he's a great dog. And we've had some really good dogs come through in our lifetime already. And but the big he's really a grouch. Mm-hmm. He loves me and Shan. He tolerates Major, the new one, because he's little. He never has liked Duke, and he sort of gets along with Sadie. But we love that beagle.
Now, special. I don't hear you use his name much.
No, his name is his given name is Bonehead.
Exactly. I've only heard you call him that once in a video.
And Shan asked me one time, she said, why you want to call him Bonehead? Because at the time, you couldn't call him off the trail of a deer. Mm-hmm. He'd track a deer till dark, And now he tracks food bowl and the couch most of the time.
And ice cream, from what I hear.
He loves some ice cream. And he only works when he wants to. We've done videos to where there was meat involved, and he show up. He's for the whole video, And then you might do a video that ain't to his liking. You may not see, and but he's touched a lot of people too. Just by he knows he's a great actor.
Right.
He knows when to come down behind that table and stick that head up there on there.
Yeah.
He's a good rascal. Yeah. I told Shannon one time. I said, God gives you certain amount of things in life, and I said, my daddy always told me, he said, He'll give you a good wife, He'll give you a good horse, and He'll give you a good dog. Mm-hmm. I said, I've had all mine now. Mm-hmm. She said, we're not through getting dogs.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. And, the house stays full most times.
Right. I was filming a video one time on the prime rib, doing a prime rib, and I had it dry brine for 48 hours and had put a butter herb rub on it, had it sitting out on the counter, and I have mastiffs.
Oh, you better have tall counters.
Well, and my counters are tall, but they're not tall enough, obviously. Woo. So I walked in, I had it sitting on the counter, ready to go on the grill. And I walked in the house to get something and walked back outside, and my mastiff took that prime rib off the counter and ran off with it. And sadly, it wasn't the first time she'd done something like that.
I know what you mean.
But we love our dogs, so
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I like to move into kind of some YouTube stuff.
All right.
You know, I have a lot of folks that subscribe to my channel who are brand new YouTubers. I'm brand new. You know, I just started my channel about 14 months ago, and so just starting off. And you were one of the earliest channels that I watched. You know, a lot of my viewers know I taught Dutch oven cooking for the Boy Scouts for years, so I stole a lot of your ideas and a lot of your recipes. But a lot of my viewers are brand new YouTubers starting up, coming up and really trying to start their channels and move. So a couple questions I have about the early days for you, and if you can recall back, is, you know, what really prompted you to start your channel? What motivated you?
Well, I think the thing that really wanted, it was more Shan than it was me when it started. She said, I would like to share y'all's life with people. Because at the time, all I was doing was cooking for ranches, you know. And it hadn't changed really since old Cookie went in the 1870s. I got a little more to work with than he did. And she said, people don't know this is out there, you know. So when she went to the Bell Ranch with me, and we had one of them little bitty hand cameras, you know. I don't remember what the name of it was now. I know how many hours of film she took out there. And that video is still on our YouTube page.
I've seen it.
Bell Ranch Part 1 and 2. You know, and we go back there once in a while and we look at how sort of grainy that was to now, you know. But there's a dying art to Dutch oven cooking, especially if you can tie the chuck wagon into it. You know, it's people used to say, you're kind of folks dying breed. I said, well, you can't see us going down the road 95 mile an hour. You know, we're in places that you ain't never heard of and GPS won't find. But I just wanted to get a message out to people that, hey, I love to cook, and I'm going to show you how to cook some stuff. We're going to have a good time. We're going to dance a little. I'm going to tell you how much we love God. We're going to always be thankful for our country and the vets that have kept us that way, and the servicemen and women. But I said, I just want you to know it's not just food.
Right.
You know, and that's what we try to get across. And I think if somebody's starting out with YouTube, something they really want to do, let it come from your heart, first of all, and be who you are. Don't be something else.
Definitely.
And then be consistent. You know, if you do one video a week or 3 videos a week, come out on that day, same time, every time. Then your people think, hey, it's 2:30. I got to go in there and watch this video from Coleman. He finna let her go. And it's just like tuning into a TV. And, you know, people have unplugged from a lot of TV.
Definitely.
You know, there's a lot of folks that, hey, it's YouTube. You know, I tell people, I say, oh, I don't watch news. You know, we tend to just sort of do what we want to do, sit on the porch, and think about it after that. But an old man on a ranch told me one time, he said, there's a lot of people that have sat down to write a story. He said, we the people that the story's about.
That's right.
He said, you remember that and be part of the story. And I said, well, I'm just glad to play a part, even if it's a little bitty part. He said, no, always be a part.
Definitely.
And it's always been easy.
Yeah. So you and I were talking before we turned the camera on that you had kind of broken away from TV and started watching more YouTube. So
yeah. Who
do you watch on YouTube, whether it be food or non-food? Who do you like watching?
Well,
besides me, of course.
Oh, yes, sir, Coleman. I've seen your stuff. There's a couple of old Mexican ladies that I really like to watch cook. And I can't understand. I mean, I do know some Spanish, and I'll catch hold every once in a while. But they're really good. And I learned to cook that way when I was out in Gila, you know, with traditional old dried chilies and stuff like that. But I'm amazed at how they cook it still, you know, because a lot of them ain't got near the stuff I got to work with. And I'll watch them put it together, you know, and I don't know what it is, but I'll get to looking at it and think I can figure it out,
right.
You know, and they're pretty good inspiration. But I watch a lot of reruns on there. I watch a lot of Carol Burnett, Tim Conway, back when TV was good TV.
Right.
And then me and Shannon will sit down and we'll watch a lot of stuff that's just about dogs, you know, and dogs always make us happy.
Perfect. So what are some of your long-term goals that you have for YouTube? I mean, you're at 1.75 million subscribers now, and I was looking at some of your views. You're at 134 million views on your channel. 134 million views. So what are some of your long-term goals?
You always have to say we're after growth. I'm not after growth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm after happiness and sharing what the good Lord give me as a talent with other people. And that's cooking, dancing, laughing. I had a guy tell me one time, he said, I learned how to cook watching your video. You made me laugh. You showed me so much respect to all the people that you know, and you made me cry. He said, so I went through a whole year's worth of life in 13 minutes. And long term for me, if we can just keep supporting the people that we love and taking care of those around us, you know, Mr. Rogers always said, it's a great day in the neighborhood, just be a good neighbor. And it's all about sharing. You know, and I tell people, sure, share the videos, but share the food. Mm-hmm. And we'd tell them this back in COVID. I know you can't go in the house, but you can sure take the dish over and knock on the door, set it down there. You know, that's what it's about. And you know, I love to in a way see the numbers, but I spend a lot of time from 4 to 5 o'clock in the morning reading comments. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's a thing that I mean, we're busy time. And you know how it is. I mean, we own these two places over in Wellington. One's a coffee shop, one's a shipping deal, one's a sort of a test kitchen, trying to build a deal out back to where we can hold some cooking seminars, you know. And but if you don't take time for the people that got you where you at, there's something wrong.
Certainly, definitely.
And, my mother said, if they got time to visit with you, you better make time to visit with them. I said, yes, ma'am.
Great advice.
But long-term goals, hey, let's just be happy.
Definitely.
Happy and healthy.
Well, let's talk about your books.
All right.
Let's talk about your books. So this is your first book that came out in 2015.
Yep.
And what kind of inspired you to start this one?
Well, it's more about ranch cooking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I remember when we talked to our book agent, she said, "Oh, I love the idea." You know, and when we presented it to the publishers, they had a hard time trying to figure out what a chuck wagon was. Mm-hmm. You know, what part did it play? But we told them this is not just a cookbook. This is sort of like a coffee table book. It's completely done by me and Shan. We wrote it all. She took all the pictures. I can remember writing stories in there that she'd tell me. She'd say, "I want you to tell me the story about the map." And you know, it's just people that I'd met on ranches a long time ago. But we wanted all them stories to be in there. But recipes that had maybe come from when I was cooking on a ranch, but also maybe my mother, my grandmother, some old timer might have fixed, you know. So we come out with that, and it's more traditional sort of ranch cooking. But and that book still was one of the top 100 books to own in a lifetime off Amazon.
I saw that.
And it's been a lot of work. You know, you put in 2.5 years for one of them most of the time, but it's such a blessing, you know, and we still have people order them today, and it probably outsells the new book still in a way. Yeah, this is real close, but there'll be times it's
and I love this one because it's more than a cookbook.
Yeah.
One of my favorite sections in this book is the Cowboy lingo.
Yeah.
I love that section. And I remember back to my grandparents because they grew up on a ranch and they had a ranch growing up. And I remember my grandparents would say stuff like, my grandma would say something like, it went through her like salt water through a widow woman.
Yeah.
And I had no idea what she was talking about. But the Cowboy lingo in this book, and I was reading through it earlier and I was thinking, man, I wish I would have had that as a kid.
Yeah, Shan wanted that in there, and you know, there's in this book too. In the new book, there's even something a little better. It's Okie to English.
Okay.
And you know, because she'd say, "What do you mean? It's going to come a toad floater?" And I said, "You'll find out if it rains about 5 inches tonight." Okay. You know, so but this book, we sort of had to fight for this one a little. We took the title really from what our YouTube people were telling us. You know, they were a faith-based group. They love food, family, but they're a very patriotic bunch of folks, you know. So that's what it was about. And it brings about a gathering to the table and for people to show up. It's got a lot of more grilling recipes, a lot of fresh green recipes in there. Still got the great stories and Shan's great photography, whether it be a food picture or something on a ranch, you know. Hey, we've been really blessed. And you can see her name on this first one is in little bitty print. It said that, I didn't put it in the contract, but it said that in the contract, Shannon Keller Rollins' name can be 1/3 the size of Kent Rollins, you know. And I told her, I said, that ain't my doing right there, sugar. And so when we come up for this other one, I said it will be me and you on the cover because that's what we are.
Right.
It's not me or it's not you, it's me and
it's
you.
Us, right.
You know, and so I remember when we took that picture down there. It's pretty close to the river. It was on a day in August, hot, about like it is today. And when they sent that back to the publisher, they wanted to know, did you touch that photo up? I said, no, that's real. How'd you get the sky that blue? I said, it's like that most every day if you just get out there and look at it, you know. Right. And but both of them have been a blessing. It's something that we enjoyed doing. Like I say, there'll be another in here for long.
And that was one of my other questions. Is there another one planned?
Yeah, there is another in the works.
Great to hear that. So, you know, you have your Red River Ranch Dutch oven cooking classes. One of the classes I'd love to see Shannon because she took all the photography in this photo, and that's a challenge for new YouTubers like me is food pictures for my thumbnails. I'm always having a challenge getting those pictures right. So I'd love to see Shannon give a class. On, and I'd pay for it. I'd drive up here to go to that class just to learn how to take food pictures.
You know, things have really changed. When that first cookbook come out, we were trying to stage the food like we thought it should be, and it was pretty fancy and nice. And we sent back up there to Rux, the publisher, and she said, "No, this is more like fine dining experience. I want y'all's food." You know, and then we realized, we cooked it. Let's serve it like we serve it, you know. And she's been through I don't know how many cameras, but there's a lot of pictures in this book that come off an iPhone, you know. And nearly every YouTube thumbnail picture is an iPhone. Definitely, you know. Yeah. And she's learned how to focus and get things just right. You know, I try to stay out of the way, and. But
I think that's every man's motto, right? I mean, we just need a T-shirt that says, "I just try to stay out of the way."
But she's a great writer too. Mm-hmm. I was amazed at her because there's sections in the book she had to write that had to come from her point of view, you know. And I'd say, "You've always told me I knew how to write," but I said, "Don't fool me, girl." Mm-hmm. I said, "You're good," because when she first started getting me to write a blog. A long time ago, I didn't even know what a blog was, you know. And she said, "You're going to write all these stories that you've been telling me going up down all these roads, you know." And I said, "All right." So I get into her computer, you know. It was her like hunt and peck. And I'd send it to her, and she said, "I like where you're going, but start over," you know. So I'd have like 1,500 words, and she'd narrow it down to 3. But
let's try one more time.
Yeah, but it's good. You know, I'd be upstairs in our house working on a story that's in one of these cookbooks. She'd be downstairs, you know, and we'd email it back and forth, you know. But no, I'm blessed far beyond my means, and I love her more than life.
Perfect. So let's talk about the Red River Ranch Dutch Oven Cooking School. So how do people tell us about the school, and then how would people find it? When's your next class coming up? And
you know, them cooking school is something I started about 14 years ago because there was a bunch of old ranchers told me, "Hey, there ain't too many cooks left out there."
That's right.
You know,
can you teach my guy how to cook?
So I started, and that first year there was 4 came. 3 of them ended up making good wagon cooks. You know, right now there's probably close to 3,100 people on a waiting list. COVID wiped it out last year, you know, in the spring of this year too, and looking like probably this fall. We're trying to get the facilities ready over here at Wellington so where we can do some one-day clinics, you know, to try to get some help for not only the list to go down, but also to get people in and out a little quicker than, a 3 or 4 day school is. Met some great people through them, salt of the earth folks. Taught a lot of people to cook, but they found out too, there's a lot of cooking and a lot of life here. And I said, yeah, we teach both, But it's a way to bring people together, and we've had from everywhere. We've had them from overseas. And it's always just good to see people.
Well, the last thing I'd like to talk about before I let you go is some new products you have coming.
All right.
There's a lot of buzz going around about the new Bertha.
Ooh, yeah.
I went back and I actually watched your video where you refinished Bertha,
Yeah.
and you talked about what she weighed. I watched the picture of you unloading her off of a trailer. I'm thinking he's more of a man than I am. But I like to hear, first of all, where she came from.
All right.
Where'd you get her? And then tell us about the new Bertha that might be available for some of your viewers and my viewers.
Bertha, I cooked, even when I was guiding hunters, you used to dig a hole in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Bend down there on your knees, cook, everything falling in the gravy, winds blowing. Good friend of mine lives on Ranch Dickens, Texas. Great cook, Jimbo Humphreys. One of the first man I ever seen had a stove like that. I told him, I said, Jimbo, you got to make me one of them. And he said, I ain't going to make no more of them. And I said, yeah, you're going to make me one. I need it. So he did. And the old original Bertha, I'd had 24 and a half years, I guess, and didn't have a bottom in it. So through years, it got sort of spreading out. Mm-hmm. And I retired it. And I got me another one built just like it. And it's, 8 or 9 years old now. But we did a deal called Barbecue All-Stars with some folks out of Tulsa, or one of the sponsors, Hasty Bake Grills. And Rich Alexander, who owns it, he told me, he said, one of these days I'm going to build you one of them stoves. And I said, Rich, this stove is heavy. I said, it's like Elvis Presley used to sing about. I said, it's 345-pound hunk of burning love right here, buddy. He said, I'm going to build one. And I never paid it much mind because people are always telling me stuff like that, And a year or two went by, and Rich said, hey, I need to measure that stove. I said, well, I'm going to Branson in October. I said, I'll stop through Tulsa. You can measure. So he'd measure on it. I'd come back through Tulsa in a year or two, and he'd say, hey, I about got this ready, So last year in 1st of November, I stopped by up there. They sort of had a prototype, sort of what I wanted to look at, showed me all the specs. In March, I went back up there, 1st April. And I picked it up, brought it home, used it to make sure. And it's a class act. Them guys are great craftsmen. And one thing that I admire and I'll always push is it's made in Oklahoma, made in the USA. Them people have had that same Hasty Bake place since 1948. And it's American, made by American people. And it's a great product. It's got wheels on it now. It's portable. And I'm thinking, I don't know if I'm going to like that or not, but I guarantee it's one of the better things that we ever put on that old stove. And the new ones, I think they'll be on sale August 16th.
August 16th.
People can find out a little more information on our website, just KentRollins.com. But they are a great piece of work. The new one, it's probably about the same weight as the old one. Shan asked me, she said, when are you going to quit cooking? I said, when I can't load it and unload it no more. But now I can cook forever because this has got wheels and I can hook it to the winch and roll it up on there. So, hey, I'm thinking I'm going to cook till I'm at least 91 now.
Well, you can get one of those little ratchet winches and just put some eye-rings on the top of it. There you go.
This one will roll right off that trailer a whole lot easier and it rolls back on.
Perfect. Now, Shannon was telling me about some new barbecue sauces, salsas, and seasonings you got coming out.
We're excited. They ought to be here by the 1st of September. I've made barbecue sauce forever. That I've always made on ranches, and all them old cowboys and everybody would tell me it's the best barbecue sauce I ever had in my life. And it stays on meat. I call it Red River Ranch barbecue mud because it's thick. Mm-hmm. But and then there's a salsa that is made with traditional old dried chilies that, it just makes me think of the Gila and that country.
So is it the Hatch chilies?
Yeah, it's got some Hatch chilies in it. And it is so good. A dry rib rub will be out, taco seasoning, a chili seasoning. So we're looking forward to getting that on shelves and getting it on the website. And we started working with some folks that are going to make this even a little bigger, So, hey, just spread the love, spread the food, and spread the happiness.
Perfect, perfect. Well, Ken, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, my friend.
I appreciate you, brother.
Pleasure,
thank you very
Coleman.
much for making time for a little channel like mine.
Oh, hey, we appreciate you.
And folks, if you haven't checked out Ken's channel, I'll put a link below in the description to his channel. But definitely, if you're into Dutch oven cooking, outdoor cooking, definitely check out his channel. He's got an amazing channel. And if you like to see him dance,
every time
in every one of his videos. I danced in one of my videos here a couple weeks ago, and people made fun of me.
Hey,
so
just keep dancing.
Especially my kids. My kids made fun of me. So I'm not going to do it anymore. But I appreciate you joining me. And like I always say at the end of my videos, y'all go grill something. I really hope you've enjoyed this interview with Cowboy Kent Rollins. Not only is he an amazing chef, but he's also an amazing person. And I want to personally thank Kent and his wife Shannon for making time for a little YouTube channel like mine. You can't imagine what it has really meant to me. Now, I'll put a link below to his YouTube channel and to his website, so pop on over and subscribe to his channel if you haven't already done it. Thank you again for joining me in the GNC Kitchen. If you enjoyed this interview, I'll put a link right up here to a few more I've done, like one with Malcolm Reed from How to Barbecue Right, and one with Tuffy Stone from Cool Smoke Barbecue. And please subscribe right up here, and don't forget to ring that bell down below. It'll let you know when I've got some new videos coming out. I always enjoy spending time with you in the GNC Kitchen and sharing my recipes. Now y'all go grill something.